Starting to the top right, he might be the last player for Axiom-Acer that we see today if he is able to win his match. The Terran player in red, he is
Axiom Young,
the joker of the team. 24 maps played, 12 won, 12 lost, a 50% win ratio against Terran players. And he's going up against one of the best mirror match players that we have. To the bottom left of Yonsu for Team AZUBU.
AZUBU Supernova.
Supernova has not lost a single map in his last 9 maps that he played. He is 14-4 in this matchup, has a 77% win ratio therefore. He 2-0'd Innovation actually at DreamHack in Bucharest. He took a game off Bomber in the GSTL Season 2 2013. Well, the last game that he lost, that was actually in the playoffs of the first season in GSTL, where he lost a map against Yoda. And as some of you might remember, in the Season 2 of the Premier League, in the individual league here in Korea, he lost a best-of-3 against Maru with a 1-2. But besides that, he won most of his games, and he also won a couple of matches against Ryung. In Season 1, they already faced each other once, and Supernova took that map.
Now, talking about builders here, Supernova gets the much better one, because he's going to have a faster orbital. He has, you know, that additional harvester just because of him going for the gas after the barracks. If you go gas first, then you can get a really fast factory, and you can sometimes do damage with Banshees. But if you go gas in a normal timing, that means you have your Viking out just in time, and you also didn't waste some of your economy on going for a fast gas. So a good position here for Supernova. But it all depends on how the game plays out, because Supernova's going for a Reaper, and that delays his own defensive tech. And he does see the factory. That's really crucial. On any other 4-player map, you know, he would not be this lucky. But the timing here is perfect. He comes in here and sees everything and even escapes to the SCV. He's really measured out that timing quite well.
Yeah. You know, on one hand, I mean, if Supernova being the favorite now in this match actually wins it, it would bring us into the game between HOT and Boom Boom, and I would really like to see this. This is the only Terran versus Zerg that we would have today. Well, we don't know yet which players would play the ace match here, but in the regular matches that we have in this team match, HOT versus Boom Boom is the only Terran versus Zerg. I wouldn't mind actually having that game as well. But for now, we have the scouting in the main base. Supernova seeing everything that's going on, as you already pointed out, so he can prepare accordingly. Gets his own expansion a lot faster, command center already built. But for Ryung, we will once again see the bit more aggressive build.
Yeah. Right now, Supernova is probably just sitting there like, huh, I already saw that, man. Now you can slow it down. Try me.
That's kind of the trademark style of Ryung in Terran versus Terran. He usually tries to be the one who initiates the aggression and is the one who just keeps his opponent in his own base.
Reaper's going to do the double jump up here into the main base and actually can start to pick away at the Marines. And since he's not going for Banshees or anything like that, it doesn't really matter all too much that he picks away at the Marines, but it is kind of just a little bit of an edge you can get on your opponent while you're microing with the better tech units. And the Cloak is going to continue. This is something that he wants to confirm. He wants to go see, oh, are you just going to make a Raven and then go into Mech instead or something, or are you really going to commit? Sees the Cloak research. And this may even trigger a cancel by Ryung. Ooh, a little bit of sloppy micro there.
Yeah, losing one of the Reapers was definitely unnecessary. That was a wrong click. And, well, now we have the Cloak still not cancelled, but I don't think he really will do that. Problematic for him really being is like, what Ryung currently does is he sacrifices potential economy a faster second base because he wants to get his tech out faster so that he can use this Banshee against his opponent, which means he has to do damage with that.
Yeah, a lot of it.
If he doesn't do damage with this, then it will result in Supernova having a much better economy and catching up in tech really fast, so the advantage would go to the AZUBU player. And that means if Ryung sends out this Banshee right now, it has to do a lot of damage. Only killing like 2 or 3 SCVs, that just doesn't cut it. And we already have Supernova in a position where he's building his own missile turrets for detection, and he has the Viking build. Yeah. So this is getting pretty iffy for Ryung.
Don't forget he also has Widow Mines, unless he canceled those. I think, yeah, there's the 1 and there's the 2. So this is actually going to be like... it's not in range.
Yeah, just barely not in range. That was close.
But he's got the turret going to finish here just in time. How many kills can this get? Good micro here, actually, and he avoids the turret so far. 2 kills, and he wants to force the scan. He's like, if you scan, you're going to have to use more than 1. And there's the first.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is something where he should not really be too anxious about it. Like, using one scan is not going to be the big deal, because he already saturates 2 Mineral Alliance, and he can definitely afford that. But Ryang is also adding a 3rd command center immediately, because he knows that in economy he's already behind, so he's trying to apply pressure while expanding and getting a good economy on his own.
Yeah, you know what? He gets 5 kills here with the Banshee, forces 1 scan, and it's not ideal. It's not what he wanted, but at least he gets something out of this, despite the fact that he was scouts early. And here comes Banshee number 2.
Got another one, so he's at 6 kills already with the first Banshee, so that's quite important for him. That was not that bad.
Yeah, not so bad. And the second Banshee here is struggling to find an angle, but Ryung has now evened up the Harvester count. In fact, he's 2 Harvesters ahead. He's got his Orbital up, and he has Siege Tanks out. So he's getting into a decent spot here when it comes to tech. 4 hit points left on this Banshee. He's not going to survive much longer. In fact, probably not going to get a single additional kill. Does force a scan, though, and that's, you know, at least a little bit good for him. The counter Raven is already out, though, and this Banshee has Cloak, yeah, but the Raven is easily going to spot and start to kill it. He doesn't have turrets, though, and the Marines don't have stims, so if he micros against the Marines, he can actually still kill a lot of them.
There we go, Marines moving their way in, trying to chase that Banshee away. And if you just look at the numbers, actually this game is getting pretty even at this point. Harvester count is exactly the same, the better army currently for Supernova. But, yeah. Supernova definitely with a bit of a better position in general, but Ryang with the Banshees actually was able to do some damage. That was pretty good.
The counter Banshee is always kind of a risk when you do that. You know, you're kind of hoping you can catch your opponent off guard.
How much did the second Banshee actually do for Ryang? It didn't do too much, right?
He got like 1 kill and forced to scan, so... But the counter Banshee here for Supernova, the first one did basically nothing, killed 2 Marines. The second one, though, there's only 1 Raven, so he can only be one place at one time with that. Turret is not ready. Starting to get some kills here. Could also damage the SCV areas. The Marines, but he scans, and there's a bit of a miss micro on the Banshee.
Yeah, that was a bit of a problem with the unit control here. Did he take out the second one too? It looks like it, yeah. He killed both of them. So the combination of Raven and double Viking definitely making it happen for Ryang here. And pretty good defense by the Axiom-Acer player, so that didn't do anything for the Supernova here.
If I'm not mistaken, we're seeing a mech transition now for Supernova here. What he's been known for. He's going double Viking, making only siege tanks, starting a second factory. It's a bit of a stranger transition into mech, but you know it's a smart one. He doesn't have a 3rd base up just yet, but he's playing it safe. Yep. He's trying to take every little edge he can.
There's another factory already coming in. That's going to be factory number 3 or even 4. And of course, Ryang going for the bio here has already the production tab indicated with him going straight into Stim, Combat Shield, and adding a lot more barracks there as well. But he has the earlier expansion in terms of the 3rd base. He already has it. He doesn't have it on the low ground just yet, but we have the extra mill for him. We have also the production of SCVs available to him too. And with the first few medevacs that he will have in the game, he also has the potential to just go into his opponent's main base. The disadvantage that you always have if you play mech is that you are much slower on the map.
Yeah.
And a little bit more static.
And these 2 Hellions actually will deny the space for a little while. Oh, they could have. The turret would have gone down on the Raven, but all these little cute moves that Supernova has, by the way, keeping the Reaper on the Watchtower, killing the Marine he finds, and just regenning, having actually a Widowmine bird on the Watchtower doesn't give him vision. That means any unsuspecting unit that walks in to try to take vision will actually just be killed. Worker count really even, slightly ahead for Supernova, who's now researching the Infernal Pre-Igniter. I'm like, what is this upgrade called? Blue Flame. He's getting the Blue Flame. And the mech composition has now been identified.
Yeah, he scouted what's going on now. But as you already said, he's moving out on the map. He has his own 3rd base now. And this is one of those points in the time when Supernova, of course, wants to hit like really hard. If he gets in a good position with his own composition that he has, he will be able to execute a lot of pressure and maybe even take the fight in the game. But for now, Ryang has 3 bases, has the mobility on the map, and he is able to occupy Supernova long enough that economy will really start to snowball in favor of the Axiom-Acer Terran player.
Yeah, definitely true. And then when you're going for mech, you want those 6 gases. You want all the gas you can get.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure.
Uh-oh, here we go. Engagement here. Who's going to siege first? Neither player sieges, and I like this choice by Supernova because he has the air control. He has the Vikings. He can actually attack these units, and he had the better siege tank count. So attacking just in siege tank mode was the better choice from here. Point defense from may save the Raven for a little bit longer. On the other hand, not going to save that siege tank.
Yeah, and there we have the Seeker missile being used, but that was a really nice fight for Supernova, chasing Ryung not only back, but also taking down a lot of these units in the process that really put him into a good spot. Now the siege tank's starting to siege up, and the extra vision for Supernova, thanks to the Vikings and the air control that he has.
Yep, nice pickup on the Raven. And this may force Ryung to actually fight a different place. He still has 1 point defense drone. 1 point defense drone on Supernova's side. It could be used here against the Marauders. Yeah. Looks like a counterattack is going to happen instead, though.
He tries to use the mobility that we've talking about earlier. He just walks past his opponent's army and tries to aim straight for that third base and take it out. We do not have any kind of medivac support here for Supernova, so he can't just simply load into medivacs and move up that cliff. But he can attack those siege tanks. And here we have the move that we were talking about earlier. Ryung going for the third base, and it's already gone.
I really like Ryung's position here on the map because
Supernova is forced to attack now.
Yeah, now actually he's getting a better position because the way he was on the edge, I was like, well, he's not getting anything done. The production's way too far up. But now he actually controls the main ramp, and he's starting to get closer to coming back. And now Supernova has to turn around. If Supernova, or rather Ryung has to turn around, if Supernova does not do critical damage here, Ryung will still have the third base, and he's got a fourth orbital even.
He can't use his natural anymore, though, and that is a big, big issue. He already lost a couple of harvesters there, but he definitely lost the mining, since we have siege tanks in position. Units back at home for Supernova, not used just yet. He's not moving them back for now, but he's still controlling everything here, sniping a couple of the medivacs and just making sure that Ryung is losing a bit his edge. Only 2 medivacs left for him, and he drops on top of his opponent's siege tanks, but those medivacs are already gone.
Well, he kills a lot of the siege tanks with SCVs, as it turns out, evening up the harvester count, but he does push this back. And that was really, really critical because Ryung has the better economy, but he just does not have, the army just yet. He needs more time to rebuild that.
On the other hand, a lot of the army is currently in Vikings, and he can only utilize the Vikings if he really has the ground army too. He's moving out with the second wave now, and Ryung has to hold here. He's the one with 4 command centers. If he can just hold a little bit longer, his economy is just going to give him such a massive advantage. If he can capitalize on that, he will win this game. But Supernova knows of this as well and is trying to push out right now.
Supernova is really, he's trying to make things work. He's trying to do harassment, but he's just struggling at it a little bit. Like you said, you're now adding Hellbats in the mix, and he's going to get some kills here. Every little kill counts, especially when he still has not really resecured a third command center yet.
I just don't think it's enough if he just kills 5, 6, or even 10 SCVs.
He needs to kill 15 or 20, you know?
Exactly, we have 4 CCs. And that is going to be such a big problem. It's not only because of the scans that, of course, then Ryung is going to have, but also because we have so many potential mules that Ryung can call down at any point in the game if he suddenly needs minerals.
And it's a bio versus mech composition, and Ryung has the better gas income. Look at that, 450 to about 700. That's the difference here. One Hellbat will actually severely disrupt the mule mining and also the mining here at the third base. But once it's cleaned up, he just goes back to mining and says, well, that's fine. He's got the more mobile composition. He has map control. And as a mech, you just need to have the security.
He's moving out, trying to catch not only that army, or maybe one of those bases. The siege tank's not sieged up just yet. A nice targeting here by Ryung, taking down a couple of the siege tanks and then immediately moving back. But we have Supernova now also on 4 bases. He just established himself a 4th. So Ryung has to be careful. Both of them still at roughly the same supply. A drop into the main base.
Yep, immediately spotted though. He's got not only a siege tank here, but the SCVs did get pulled. Just watching the way that Ryung engages, taking little engagements like this, where he just comes in and picks off a few siege tanks, picks off a few Hellions, then gets out, is really, really nice to see. Gets in here, and unfortunately loses a lot more than he would like, but still trades against the Hellbats. And those Hellions almost get the SCVs, but almost is not enough.
20 harvesters killed by Supernova in this match, only 7 by Ryung. The harvester count slightly in favor of Supernova. He needs to win it for AZUBU here if they want to have another chance to win this team match. If Ryung takes it, it's all over. And Ryung is heading into 3-3 already.
Yeah, heading into 3-3. Missing a little bit on his gas income right now as he struggles to resaturate all of the SCV pulls that he made. That's actually very difficult to do while you're multitasking on the map.
Those upgrades are a big, big problem for Supernova, since yes, he's playing mech, but he doesn't have any upgrades for that mech army.
Yeah, none. And this is really going to start to take its toll. When the Marauders have that many hit points and that +3 armor, they just crush through and do so much damage. Now this position here is a little bit awkward for Ryung because he doesn't have the better vision. He has to scan. With all the orbitals he has, though, we talked about this before, it really helps him. But the Vikings make it so that Supernova is just forcing those wasted scans, and actually Ryung decides that this is not going to be worth it, and he moves back.
The medivac at the top left might actually go down against the missile turret. if he continues down the path. No, actually he changed the path of the medevac slightly, but yeah, that doesn't help him too much either. Immediately going, well, not going down just yet, but we have the bunker there in position to make sure that this one helmet doesn't do too much damage to the mineral line.
Yeah, only getting about 2 kills there. A lot of scans here for Ryung. Hesitates there for a second, does make the better choice, does not walk into that siege tank line. Ryung's control against the mech army has been phenomenal this game, though. Always scanning ahead, always making sure that he can get a few pickoffs and then get away.
At the same time, Supernova is playing a really good defensive game, always making sure that Ryung's mobility is not going to be his downfall. He always has units at his 4th and at his 3rd. Is moving in again, both of them really good with the scans ahead. But here we have the Terror player moving in. Ryung is doing so well, and he's taking out every single siege tank.
He's getting them all down the flank. It's too good here. The Hellbats were not dropped in time, but this is a pure Marauder here against basically nothing. He's got a few Vikings in the air. What are they going to do?
33 army supply for Supernova are left, and Ryung with the steamroll victory in the last battle claims the game and wins it for Axiom-Acer. Wow!
That 3-3 finishes up, and he goes right in swinging, and he eliminated Supernova's army in a matter of seconds, denying Alicia the high 5. Will he re-give it? No, he does not.
He kind of promised this ceremony, and that's the one thing that he actually does not do here. But that was quite the performance. Supernova was looking really strong for a huge period of time, but then suddenly the last battle, that was just like, he was just crushing him in the last battle. That flank was so good.
Once that 3rd base was sniped, it wasn't even just forced to lift, it was sniped. That gave Ryung so much control over the game. He was always trading efficiently, or at least even. And when he had 4 CCs, even before the 4th was taken, he had so many mules. And because he's not meching, the gas income doesn't matter, the mineral income matters so much more. So he can make those Marauders, get that Bioforce out. And he was always able to scan ahead with all the orbitals.
Ryung takes the last game, and now we have the victory here for Axiom-Acer already. They look unstoppable this season.
Yeah, they are just, bar none, way ahead of everybody else. This puts them at a plus 10 indicator, if I'm not mistaken, or is it plus 11?
I think it's plus 11.
Yeah, 11,
plus 8, right?
Yeah, they're plus 8, so yeah, plus 11 now. So, wow, I mean, that's like, who's going to stop them? I mean, it just doesn't look like anybody can do it.
Yeah, like in the last season, they were really good in the regular season, but then when we went into the playoffs, they were struggling a little bit, but this time they completely look undefeatable. I mean, they have innovation on the lineup as well. So Axiom-Acer doing a great job today once more. And AZUBU was the team that was the most dangerous to them. AZUBU had a chance here to actually surpass them, but that didn't happen. Like, I mean, not at all.
No, definitely not. I mean, I got to say, that game, I talked about it before, Ryung in the TBT, sometimes he just makes these comebacks happen where it looks like his opponent has control, and he makes a few clutch plays and turns it around.
And, well, for Supernova, of course, that was a little bit unfortunate there. He was, from a statistical point of view, the highly favorite in this particular match, and AZUBU is really banking their hopes on him delivering this one victory so that they could maybe, with Boom Boom versus Hard, edge out another map win and then going to the ace match. But that didn't happen. Ryung clutches it out for Axiom-Acer, and they have a dominant victory in this team match today, and therefore solidifying their position at the top of the ranks.
Yeah, I mean, they are, like I said before, potentially the most dominant team we've ever had in GSTL this season. I mean, they're just way, way up there. We had a round-robin system a long time ago with like Jupiter and Venus, but none of the teams had this big of a huge lead in first place.
It also makes Crank the only Axiom-Acer player that lost today, so he's probably not too happy about that, but I guess with a team victory, he's probably quite...
Listen, he's probably got a lot more things to be happy about right now. He's like, I lost, but I mean, we're in first place with a plus 11.
He came through for the team several times in the past, so it's kind of nice that we have the opposite scenario right now. He's a great coach, a great player coach, and I can't wait to hear from him what he has to say about today's victory. And he's probably, as you already said, pretty happy about how everything turned out today.
All right, let's hear from the man himself, Crank. Not only our starting player, but the playing coach for Axiom-Acer.
So the question here is the one question that we've all been asking: why are you guys so good?
Everyone's preparing for GSTL pretty hard right now. And I'm disappointed that I lost today because he prepared a lot. And he said he's basically saying that He thinks that Innovation's win is kind of what carried the team to victory after that. It's going to give him motivation to carry them forward. Which is interesting to me because I think, for me, if I were looking at it, I would say that was the match that I was the least concerned about. But I guess they watch how Innovation crushes his opponents and they get motivated by that.
No, I mean, I can't see that happen. I mean, Innovation, it was a brutal game, but on the other hand, like going up against Ragnarok definitely the more inexperienced player. Which actually reminds me, that was also Terran versus Zerg. So Hard versus Boom Boom was not the only one that we had. We unfortunately didn't see the ladder. I would have loved to see all the games of the original lineup.
Well, I mean,
we didn't need it.
We only had one Terran versus Zerg Diggs. The one that you were talking about before is like Innovation versus Zerg. It's a totally different matchup.
Yeah. Innovation has his own race. He's like Moon in Warcraft 3.
I mean, Axiom-Acer are just so dominant this season. It's hard to find the right questions to ask, you know, in this type of situation. Like, where was the point at which you thought that? Did you ever think that you could lose, or did you ever? Which team do you think is the scariest team? Crank's like, well, us, of course, but besides us.
He actually says that AZUBU, as we already pointed out earlier as well, AZUBU was the most scariest team to them and the most dangerous, so they practice a lot more for them than they do for other opponents. But they made it look easy. I mean, it was a 4-1 victory. That was a bit of a stomp.
Yeah. There were some close games, but you know, they clenched it out. Like, every game they did eventually dominate. He thinks he could defeat any of the other teams pretty easily, he says.
I mean, it's not only bold words, but like at the same time,
it's already true. Like, he already did.
It's not only true, but it's like something where we will probably see that like in the rest of the season as well. But I would hope someone to just step it up a little bit and just show Axiom-Acer that they're not the only top dog team out there.
Well, let's see what Ryung has to say.
So they're actually asking about the same things that we were mentioning earlier, that during the start of the season he didn't do all that well, even though he was the player with the most wins last season, and he's being asked about his performance here. Right now, Innovation, of course, the player that still leads the individual rankings here at the Team League.
Recently he won 2 matches in the GSTL, so it feels pretty good about that. He used to do all the interviews last season, and it's been a long time since he's been doing the interviews, because he was MVP so much in the past. And so basically he's saying, like, I'm happy that they're interviewing me instead of Innovation.
Innovation doesn't count anymore. It's like, why are you so good? And he's like, yeah, I don't know.
How many wins do you want to get this season?
상금이라든가 이런 게 없어서 많이 아쉬워가지고 이번 시즌 들어갈 때 꼭 타성왕을 해야겠다고 생각을 했는데 지금은 아예 할 수 없는 상태라서.
Last season, when he actually got most of the wins, he didn't get any prize money, but this season, the player with the most wins in the individual ranking gets some prize money, he gets a prize, so he wants to actually win every single match of the second round that he's going to play from now on. And then just see what happens after that in the playoffs, of course.
Yeah. Well, they will certainly be in the playoffs. The opposite of
those extra prizes, you know, that we have, I'm still a little bit surprised that we do not see more ceremonies from the players. It's really surprising to me. How much was that? Like $1,000 for
I think
the player with the best ceremony? So you would think that one or two of them would really just prepare something, just as a joke in the team house, you know, just fool around a little bit and try to come up with something funny and then go for it. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate where you have to prepare a whole lot, just an idea that you spark at some point and then you go for it.
It feels like some of these matches are so tense and so stressful, the players don't even have time. Like, he may have been thinking about a ceremony, but he just come out of the booth like, oh.
They're actually asking that. They're asking about the ceremony award right now, and he answers. So maybe after he wins the next match, he's going to go for a ceremony. So maybe that is going to give him the award. Then.
He wants to beat somebody up, so we'll see how that goes. And I really feel like sometimes Ryung may have been thinking about a ceremony there, but that last game was so stressful, was so tense. He walks out of the booth like there's realized pumping. He's like, oh, okay, I did this, and he's like, oh wait, I forgot to do my ceremony.
You know, even one of those old machine gun moves, you line the team up and then you go for it and they just all tumble down. Even something like that would do.
He's asked any player you want to face, and he says innovation.
많이 바뀌고 있어요. 이 팀 내부에서도 어떤
Well, people are gonna joke the guy
wrong,
is Death Wish.
wrong league for that one. He's playing against his teammate, wrong WCS region as well. But
지금의 성적이 나오는 것이 아닌가.
네.
그런 원동력이 되는 것 같아요.
김동훈 선수
I have to suggest that to one of the teams actually if you go for one of those machine gun moves. That's like the easiest thing to do.
2라운드 시작이 좋아.
well, now that you said it, man, it becomes less epic. You should have kept it a secret and then said it to them.
뭔가
We're doing very well in the second round, and we're going to try our best to win all the matches in the second round going forward.
감사합니다. 김동훈 선수 앞으로 더욱더 멋진 모습 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다.
And if Crank does a little bit better, we're going to do better going forward. And
낮 시간임에도 불구하고
those are some foreign fans.
Welcome to the studio, guys.
세탁기 또 받아갈 수 있는 기회 있으니까.
And he immediately has a HOT6, of course.
Yeah, that's what you need to get. You come down here, the HOT6 GSTL. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
I
and
go on
guys,
right
by the
over
way,
here.
if you are fans of one of the teams, then definitely suggest a couple of ceremonies to them because that's quite a lot of money. That's $1,000 right there.
Yeah, and also, like, just tweet at some of the players, some of the coaches, some of the team Twitters, and let them know.
Let's have another look at the match results today. Axiom-Acer versus AZUBU with a 4-1 victory. Axiom-Acer solidifying their position in the standings. And it was pretty straightforward there for them.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I mean, the game that Symbol lost, or rather that Crank lost, was pretty cool one anyways. And a lot of the other games we saw were pretty close. Impact kind of throwing away some of his early lead. Alicia versus Center was a really close one as well at times, but... And even the game with Supernova was at times really looking good for Supernova, but at the end, 4-1.
Plus 11. It's pretty incredible what kind of a run Axiom-Acer has this season. AZUBU on second place with 4-2 and only a +1 indicator. So Axiom-Acer just crushing teams.
This is currently the hardest team league in the world. A lot of people might make a case that Axiom-Acer is the best team league team right now by far in the world, and there's no one disputing them right now. Look at that team. They started out small, they started out new, and a lot of people were questioning how well are they really going to do, and they're back-to-back epic.
FX Open versus StarTale is the next game that's going to happen on Thursday at 6 p.m. Korean Standard Time, and it's going to be very, very important for FX Open to do well there. If they lose and Seoul takes another victory at some point this season, then they are in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So this is not only important for FX Open, but also for Seoul. And for StarTale's pride as well, because the other big-name teams, they're kind of lagging a little bit behind right now.
Now you want to get into a good position to just finally overcome Axiom-Acer. Sorry, not Axiom-Acer, but of course AZUBU. Going up against Axiom-Acer is going to be a little bit more difficult than that. But yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting match there between the two teams. Let's see if FX Open can finally deliver.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that Choya was on the roster. Somebody told me that. And I'm going to have to verify that myself, because that would be pretty nuts.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty insane. I can't really see him play, but it would be funny. That would definitely be really funny.
Yeah.
Well, as is, we have a 4-1 victory for Axiom-Acer today. They once again did it and performed really well against one of their strongest opponents this season against AZUBU. Made it look easy. Only one player in the lineup lost. Crank was not able to take down Symbol. So congratulations to Axiom-Acer. Job well done. And as already pointed out, on Thursday we're going to have the game between FX Open and StarTale, which is going to be really important, especially for FX Open. So tune in for that again. Hope you enjoyed the show today. I'm going to see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.